Hello, knife community, knife enthusiasts, knife lovers, interested viewers folder here. I want to do a first impression of a very special knife. This is the Benchmade Onslaught, specifically the 746 Bob Lum design mini Onslaught. This knife is like a Benchmade Spyderco collaboration. You know, it literally has the spider hole, but it's made by Benchmade. Bob Lum, the designer, did a lot of. He was a designer for designing Spydercos and other knives. Also, died in 2007, December 2007. So he'll be missed by the knife community. But this is one of his designs, and my opinion is it's a real special one. Like this thing a lot. Let's get some of the maintenance out of the way. Do a couple of comparisons. Compare it to a Demco 80 20.5. It's bigger than 20.5. How about a PM2 next to it? It's about the size of a PM2, right? Really close, a little smaller, right? And one more. The Canis. Compare it to a Spyderco Canis. Kelly McCann design. Another designer knife, technically. Yeah, very close to the Canis. I'm going to end up doing a review on these knives together, actually, in the future. So it's good to bring that out along with another one because of the, partially because of the target, the demographic and target market of this particular knife. This knife is targeted and identified and designed to be a tactical knife. You know, this is one of the few knives out there. This is only the third knife I own that fits that category. Not that you can't use them for EDC, of course you can, but you know, as far as designed for tactical. So it's interesting because this has a completely different shaped blade than my other two tactical knives, right? This you have a sort of an upswept. It actually looks like an upswept clip point, but it's not. The swedge here is kind of upswept. The top part of the swedge, the spine of the actual blade, is actually very straight. You see something? Yeah, it's almost flat. So it has an illusion that it's upswept because the swedge here is upswept, but then the clip point is kind of straight down, coming from this harpoon. Yeah. So, you know, I normally don't like upswept knife points like that. That's not really particularly something that I favor. You know, but this definitely has a straighter line there that is more appealing. Anyway, I love harpoons. So the other two are the Canis and the Yojimbo 2, which are both Wharncliffes. So that's going to be an interesting comparison, comparing the three of them. So yeah, so the entire knife is 7 3/4 or 7.7 inches long, blade 3.4. Do the math and get the handle, 4.4. Don't know what this weighs. I think let me just check it myself. The weight is, okay, the weight is 4 ounces. Yeah, 4 ounces, that's good. Yeah, it's not super heavy. Nice. Very nice design. Saw this knife years ago, always wanted it because I always felt it was a cross between a Spyderco and a Benchmade. I always was like, wow, Spyderco allowed them to use that hole. No patent problems. This knife has been out for like 11, 12 years. So this is an old knife. This is not something that's, you know, the axis lock patent was still in effect when this knife was out. So, yeah. At any rate, yeah, so let's just get into what we're looking at here. We're looking at a 154 cm steel. And from what I understand, the difference between 154 cm and CPM 154 is the metallurgy. CPM 154 is a powdered steel. This is more of a fold, melt, and thaw. From an elemental standpoint, from a chemical standpoint, they are exactly the same. It's just the process is different by which you come about the steel. Whereas CPM is a cleaner process because it's powdered steel. That's all. But it's not something that can be noticed in using it. Yeah. 154 cm is yeah. So this is a steel that 11, 12 years ago was considered something that, you know, you'd see on a knife like this. This knife was $150 11, 12 years ago. $150 is a lot for a knife back then. Yeah. I mean, still today, some people won't pay that for a knife. It just depends on where you are mentally when it comes to that, and depends on how deep your pockets are, of course, whether you can pay for a knife like that. When I first got into knives, you know, paying $154, $200, $300 for a knife, yeah, it felt heavy. It doesn't feel as heavy to me now, of course, because I do it, you know, but at the same token, I get it. But these materials, by today's standards, this knife would be a $100 knife. It would be 150 or less by today's standards. You're talking about smooth G10, 154 cm steel, metal line skeletonized liners, and the access lock, which the patent has run out on. So very common right now, you know, very common. But what I would say that gives this knife a the design of the pocket clip is crazy, but I'm gonna get into the pocket clip after. But the design of this knife and who made it and who designed it, I should say, is what gives this knife value. Okay, that's what gives it value today. On eBay, you're gonna see this knife for a couple of $100, $250, $260, $270. Okay, so it's high for this knife. That price is high for this knife if you're just looking at the materials, and even where the access lock is, yeah, it's a little high. But you know, with it being a Bob Lum design and a discontinued knife and an anomaly for its time, because it feels like a modern knife when you feel it and everything, except for the steel. I mean, if this was S30V or S35V, be no questions asked. You know, but yeah, so that's what that is. But it's a very, very, very nice knife. And I will say this about the value of anything. You know, yes, once you get past certain things, you are talking about intrinsic value, right? You're talking about the materials, the craftsmanship, you know, what it took to get there, right? Whether it's a custom designer or whether it, you know, these things do matter. But I'll tell you something about the stock market. And I'm only mentioning the stock market because the price of stocks are based on a feeling, right? Not completely, but largely. So a company hires a new CEO and the market loves this person and they're moving in a direction that they love, the stock value goes up. The CEO decides to leave in 4 months, all of a sudden it goes down. Oh, really? So now that the company's not worth it with the same, it's because it's based off of a feeling. That's what it's based off of. So sometimes prices of things don't always match the the sum of the materials and the labor that go into them. There's something a little extra about it, but it has to be extra to you. I mean, to me, this being a Bob Lum design means something. There are people that are outside the knife community that means nothing. There are people inside the knife community that doesn't mean much. To me, it does. The designers of knives, all the designers out there, everyone that has ever designed a knife and put it to market, I have the highest respect for. Some designs are better than others, of course, but it's just one of those things when you're in the knife community. Um, I would think that we were trying to be respectful to others in the communities. Uh, yeah. Anyway, the handle is Smooth G10. It uses the axis lock, of course. Very nice handle. Um, it's got a dugout here, a hollowed area of the handle in the back, and also the front choil is in the handle, and it's very removed from the blade. So when you're holding on to it with your index finger, in the choil area, you're back there. You're back there. To get up on the blade a little bit better, you'd have to put your finger on the flat and use your middle finger on the choil, and then maybe you can come and choke up if you wanted to. But this is really designed to be back here. So if this is a defense knife, I guess they're giving you some space on this one. They're really giving you some reach, I should say. But it feels good. It's very easy to reverse flick this because of the downward turn of the handle. It's also very locked in because of that downward turn also. You have your index finger goes in. There's nothing up top. There's no jimping. There's no increased elevation of the spine of the blade. It's just straightforward. But the back handle is so curved that it curves down in the meat and potatoes area of your hand, and you kind of lock it right there. So now it's locked in your hand. Very locked in because it really curves down and really plants itself right there. And then you got your index finger on the front. So yeah, it feels very good. It feels like a pistol grip. You know, yeah, very nice. Pocket clip is crazy. It definitely is, but I actually like it. In pocket, it goes this deep in your pocket, of course, where the rift is here. But you can see the whole clip. It's all exposed. So it definitely draws attention when you have this thing in your pocket mounted to the clip. So if you go someplace and you kind of want to take that attention away, but you kind of still have this knife, you can put pocket knives in your pockets, guys and girls and women, men and women out there listening, right? You can do that. You don't have to have a pocket clip, a knife clipped on. There are circumstances where you can just say, listen, I don't want my knife showing right this minute. I can just put this thing in my pocket, right? So it doesn't draw attention, really don't want to draw attention when it's not necessary to anything. Yeah, but this is a very nice clip. It does its job. It doesn't touch the smooth G10, but it slides in your pocket very nice and it holds it there. And actually, deployment is excellent. So when you reach down to pull this thing out, it feels really, really good. Like it comes out with no problems. Very nice. So, except for, this extra hardware back here that's a little much, except for this, it's really nice. They could come out with a pocket clip that's, a lot easier here, but, you're talking, like I said, 11, 12 years ago, 2012, 2013, 2010, somewhere around there. So, yeah, it's G10 in the back spacer, real nice. Very easy to reverse flick, or you can just use the axis lock. Detent is outstanding. Yeah, pulls right there. Yeah, very nice. But, you know, that's expected. It's an access lock. Deployment's a little obstructed, a little bit. If you look at the Spidey hole, it's a little obstructed there. You know, the G10 does cover it just a little bit, but it's not enough not to get it. And like I said, because of the downward turn of the handle, when you bring your thumb down, it's very easy to latch the bottom of this thing and for it not to move anywhere. Very pleasurable to flick it. Very flick friendly. So yeah, so all right, guys, that's it. That's it. Just first impressions. Carry this thing for a little while, then do a review on it, and then I'll come back and do a comparison with between this and the and two other tactical knives that I actually have. That would be a fun comparison. So, all right, that's all I got.